should start by explaining like why I decided to do these things without the bigger, larger group. And simply, it's just because me as a disabled person, as a person who uses a wheelchair, like I've been discriminated against all my life because of places that have steps. As you know, there are several in the city that are still requiring the mandates because they're saying that they're a personal business and they have a right to do so, which I don't understand because if, like, for example, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, Amendments Act, if you are a church, somehow they got out of it. They don't have to make churches accessible. But if the church has a meeting for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or anything that's open to the public, um, they have to make the church accessible. Yesterday, I think it came out that Pfizer hired 600 full-time workers just to work on the adverse vaccine reports coming in, and I have, it's like a big stack of paper, might be 40 pages or more, but on page 6, that's where it says they hired 600 full-time workers, Pfizer alone, to handle the adverse events reports coming in of side effects.
So let's go back a little bit. Where are we? What's the plan for today?
Today we are going to Alice's Teacup.
We're on 73rd and Columbus, yeah?
Yeah, they have, it has a sign for wheelchair access on the door, but I don't see how I can get in. I would like to understand because the steps go down, and sometimes that means when you make something accessible, it has to be reasonable, so it can't be like cost more than the store itself. Usually that doesn't happen, but sometimes it can happen. Usually it's very easy to make fixes. So I don't know if that's their story here, but I wanted to profile the places that are still enforcing the mandates that don't have ramps. Like, for example, we have the Starbucks behind us that have a ramp, you know, and for me, that's the difference between me being able to pay my money and support them or not. And so I want people to understand that for me and for people like me with physical disabilities, it's, if we don't want to take the shot, or shots, it's like a double prejudice, or I don't want to say a double discrimination, because I can't get in because I physically can't get in because there's steps, and now I can't get in because, not because of a mandate or a law, but because a particular business owner is making policies that are not even congruent with actual data. So I want people to see what that's like for me, and I don't want to be confrontational. I want to be peaceful, but I just want to try to make my point, and try to keep fighting as I can, because people think it's not going to come back. People think it's gone. These mandates are not all the way gone, and certainly they're going to come back. I think this is a reprieve.
So what do you want me to do? I know I'm not going to go live. I think, going live can be very invasive. And I want to also approach them, obviously, with respect.
Yes.
We are going to walk
and
in.
It is raining.
And it is raining. But we are filming. We are going to film them. But this is also because of your legal case, right?
Yes.
Can you, if you could explain that.
People know that I was arrested at Bubblegum Shrimp because I didn't show the papers, and I was with the group. I didn't show the vaccine papers. They did arrest me. They frisked me. I get anxiety talking about it, and I feel like I can't breathe. I'm getting a lot of anxiety around all of this.
So the media wouldn't be able to cover it.
Yeah, I have. This is anxiety. You can look up anxiety.
Honestly, Julie, it even gives me, even though I have a lot more peace about going to Alice's Teacup today than I have been to going to any of these sit-ins recently, because it really is now. Like, even though I know I'm with you and it's just the two of us and we're gonna be calm and collected, I get anxiety thinking about it because of all the past times we've done this, and how, like, I feel like I've been exposed to, like, I have PTSD around doing these sit-ins now.
I know, and I just keep wanting to do it because I feel like it's gonna come to the point where we're not gonna be able to get our groceries if we don't show our vaccine papers, and I can't imagine it. And I don't want to get to that point and say that I didn't do everything I can to stop. Maybe it isn't gonna work what we're doing, but I have to live with myself at the end of the day. And I'm tired and I'm exhausted, and it's not just this. I did disability rights and I still do it not as much as other people, but I'm 40. I've been doing this for 20 years, different kinds of advocacy. It's exhausting.
I've only done this for 2 years, and I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
It's
I can't
exhausting.
imagine.
And
I can't
people
imagine.
don't say thank you, and there's a lot of drama, and but at the end of the day, the thing that keeps me going is I have to do the right thing, and I believe in God, a higher spirit, not necessarily the man with the white beard, but there's some higher creation. Somebody created us, and I have to be able to face that God when I die, and so I have to kind of stay away from the drama and stay focused on what I think I need to do. And what I think I need to do at this point is expose the doubleness of this, not just for me particularly, but for other people. There's not a lot of people speaking out, but there's some other people with disabilities too that I have met, one in Florida and another one locally, that feel like I feel, and they're not afraid to speak out, but they stopped trying because they're getting so much pushback. And I don't want them to feel alone, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're alone.
I just also, like, every time I think about it, it brings me to tears. But I remember that night, the night before we went to Union Square Cafe.
Yeah.
I told you this yesterday on the phone. And I was on the phone with Kevin, and he told me that Julie wants to get arrested.
Yeah.
And he, it's still hard for me to say this, but he said to me that you were ready to get pulled out of your wheelchair.
Yeah.
Why did you make that decision?
Well, because I thought it would make, if they're gonna arrest me, then maybe they'll have to carry me out. Like, if they're gonna do that, I was taught, when I was taught with civil disobedience for disability rights, if you look at the stuff in disability rights, people get out of their chairs. People turn their chairs off. It's peaceful resistance. And I was at that point, my face was getting red. People were saying, oh, maybe I didn't want to be there. Like, I didn't want to be there, and that I didn't want to be spending my birthday that way, but nobody was forcing me. Like, I made the decision. So if I was going to do this and they were going to come in and take me, let them pull me out. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to fight them, but let them drag me out. It was kind of my fleeting thought, at the time, that I was going to make it a little harder for them. I'd lie down on the floor and then see what they were going to do and find somebody to protect my chair. I mean, these were all thoughts that were going through my mind.
Wow.
And I was ready to do it.
Yeah, and did you know that the next day was when all my electronics went weird? Because I was on, that morning, I ended up at Louis D. Brandeis High School because, and that was also the day I was on Owen Schroyer. That was for me your birthday and what happened after was a really big breaking point. It was a really important moment in my journey.
Yeah.
And, because I was so emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
And but this thing pushes you, and I remember. And then it was actually crazy because we just passed by the park, the area of the park, where we did remember that day where everyone wore the brown coats?
Yeah.
That was a tough day. That was a really like
I remember.
we always say it was a demonic day. I saw you crying. I remember that day too. Okay, but I want to finish this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got sick that day, and I recovered, but it hit me that day, and I don't think I ever really recovered from that day. It was the same for me. I don't think they'll service you. Because
of my vaccine status?
Yeah.
They're still checking for papers even though the mandates have been lifted?
Yeah, that's why we're here. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't want to fight them or like protest or get the police.
Yeah.
But I need to have record to expose, because if they didn't file the paper, I don't really have a case. Essentially, I might have a case against the restaurant. I don't know, against the restaurants, but I want to show not only, we have to show that this is still happening, even though the mandates are over, and we have to show that it's happening in non-accessible places, because it's doubly bad, it's extra bad, and that this is not over.